What's up, everybody? It's the Common Sense Investor coming at you with another video. In this video, I want to talk about my objections to the settlement of the lawsuit, okay? I'm going to be taking you step by step of exactly what I've done so far for my objection. And I mean, people, when I say I'm going to break it down for you, I mean, I break it down this low. In case you can't see it, I got it right here, too. A heading. In the Court of Chancery of the State of Delaware. All right? Stop the video, write that down. That's your heading. Very simple. Next, you're going to want to put your name, your address, your phone number, your email. All right? And then you see RE. Basically, that means this is what the letter is going to be about, or the motion, or whatever. All right? RE colon. Then pause the video and write that down. AMC Entertainment Holdings, comma, Incorporated, comma, or period, stockholder litigation, comma. I write all that down and then double check it, because that's what you're going to put in your objection letter. And then underneath that, you're going to write down statement of objections. And we're going to get to all that in just a second. Now, before we go any further, you've got that much, and that's good. All right, we have to discuss what exactly do you think you're objecting to. Okay, you have to understand what's going on in this lawsuit and in this play. All right, so you don't make critical errors. All right, because you can object and it's not relevant to what the court's wanting to hear, and she'll throw it out. So you've wasted your time. So you don't want that to happen. You want to take your time. You want to make sure that you understand what you're objecting to. This is where I say everybody can come back together, people. The yes voters and the no voters. Especially if you were a yes voter and now you realize you may have made a mistake and it was because of the propaganda being put out and so forth that you voted the way you voted. That'll come up in a little bit, but that's not what we're here for. That judge, that vice chancellor, only wants to hear what your objections are to the proposed settlement. That is this document, okay, that they put out, that she kept spanking their tail until eventually they put out the proposed settlement. This is it, okay? Now, you read this document, like I've read this document, and you go through it and you say, that's wrong. And you write down, this is wrong. And I disagree with it. See? That's an objection to this, to their proposed settlement. She don't care about whether you believe Ontara votes were incorrectly done. None of that matters, unless you can figure out how to use your objection to put that into the court, which I have done too. But you're objecting to this, people. You're objecting to a whole bunch of stuff. I've got 4 objections, and I just finished the first objection, and it's 8 pages long. 8 pages long. My first objection. But I'm so thorough in going through this paperwork, people. And here's the good thing, is let's look over here real quick, and we're going to look about the things that you can object to before we even start looking into the document to see whether you object to it or not. All right? So over here on this website I found, well, I didn't find it. I was talking with ChatGPT, and ChatGPT quoted this as a reference, and I went and checked the article. And it tells you that if you're unhappy with the class action settlement, maybe you believe the plaintiff's attorneys are being paid too much, class members are getting paid too little, or the defendant seems to be getting off scot-free. All right? If this is the case, then you may have a reason to object to the proposed settlement of the lawsuit. Okay? You go on down there, and it tells you these are some of the reasons why someone might object to a settlement. All right, here's some reasons why. you can look for in this document if you're going to object to them. Number one, class members are not receiving enough relief for the injury they suffered. Okay, they're saying that the damages of like one for every 7.5 shares and so forth, there's not enough compensation for what went wrong. The next reason, plaintiffs' attorneys are being paid too much, and boy, I'm going to object to that. Number three, class representative or the lead plaintiffs is being paid too much. Y'all know who that is too. Claims process is confusing or unreasonable. All right, now that's an important one because that's my first objection as I cover claims process is confusing or unreadable. And then the next two is settlement notice does not provide adequate instruction or information. It does because she made sure she stayed on them till they fine-tuned it to her specification. So the settlement notice is fine. Settlement doesn't address the problem of the case, which I used that up to in my first objection. And here it is. Again, as I prepare to read this section to you, understand I am objecting to the settlement proposal, this document. Okay? Objection number one, the proposed settlement contains misleading facts in its filings. Okay, there's several things in this document that Allegheny lawyers are saying are facts, and they're not facts. They're misleading, and it misleads the court, and it misleads the class because of the inaccuracies, which you'll see in just a second. But watch this. In the matter before the court, lead counsel requested this honorable court to appoint them as class counsel for the settlement class. They assured the court they have and will fairly and adequately represent and protect the interests of the settlement class. What does that mean? That's saying lead counsel is asking the judge in this document to be class counsel instead of just lead counsel. He wants to take over the case. All right? Now, however, after a thorough inspection of the lead counsel's proposed settlement, it becomes evident that the filing is riddled with misleading facts that could jeopardize and harm settlement class, therefore making it void and needs for a new proposed settlement be presented to the court. I said there's so many inaccuracies in this report that anybody that would read it would, if you're going to see in just a second, watch. In class counsel's submission to the court, they stated on March 14, 2023, AMC convened a special meeting where the proposals were approved by a majority of common stock and preferred stock voting together as a class. That's in this document. My footnote right there, part 2, tells you where it's at. All right? This statement of fact, which is how it's stated in here, a majority of shareholders voted the proposals in. The statement of fact is in fact not true at all. And I feel it misleads the court and class into believing a majority of common stock and preferred stockholders approved the proposed amendments to their corporate filing, and they did not. It should be noted that only 35% of AMC common shareholders were voted and recorded. For the reverse stock split proposal vote, AMC reported that, here you go, Al, because you was asking about the answer to this. AMC reported 128,344,709 AMC shares were voted in the election for it. 51,388,638 people voted against it, and 2,609,383 abstained from the vote. All right, and then you can look right here on my footnote, and that comes from AMC's fourth quarter earnings 21 conference transcript. Now, here's the question. Do you agree with me in this objection? All right, that I'm saying that this document is so riddled with misinformation that a person who does not know any better, who would read it, would believe facts that are not true about the case, and they would interpret the document a completely different way if they didn't know the truth. All right, and one truth that I'm pointing out that they are coding over is that a majority of shareholders voted for the proposals. That's what they're telling the judge, and that's what they're telling us. And if you disagree with that, if you know that's not true, I show you the numbers right here. All right. If the majority of the people did not vote for this, therefore it should not be approved. See? But if you're reading it and all you know is that a majority of the shareholders voted for this, you have to say, well, if a majority of the shareholders voted for it, well, then what the fuck? They win. But if you interpret it correctly, as I tell you in the brief here, that they overwhelmingly won because of the people present, not the total shareholders. That's why the judge is so much on their ass to notify every shareholder. All right? So that's just one objection that I have, and I don't want to make this very long or any longer. Let's just go on down a little bit more. But here's the thing. If you agree with me, then what you would do is you would go over here to your letter. Remember our outline? Headline, information, what's it about, statement of objections, objection number 1, what is your objection? All right, let's get rid of that and paste in what our objection is. Now, I wrote this just in a few seconds while I was transitioning over here to this. I said, well, let me write an example. So here you go. Your objection can be: misleading facts in proposed settlement would have an innocent bystander that read the document believe that a majority of shareholders voted in the corporate election, and that isn't true. I believe that the impact of this mistake is crucial to shareholder class, is tremendous in that, and then you discuss how this error can impact you. And the impact, you could say, would be something to the effect of, you would think, and I do say this, you would think that someone who took as much time and effort and money to investigate these claims could have done a better job in preparing the facts of the case. So therefore you object to this proposed settlement plan. See, it's that simple. So if that confused you, back it up, listen to me again on the impact, and you just fill in the blanks, people. Then you go down here, what's your second objection? Well, you'll see, and then I ain't going to go over it all. This is another good one. Remember, we're looking for reasons that we object to this proposed settlement plan, okay? And I show you right here in the second part of this objection, which I'm proving that the document is ill prepared. See right here? This is my reason that I'm objecting. This is explaining why I'm objecting. And then I go to my next point. Oh, well, this part tells you about the impact that it had on me, all right, as a class holder. Then I go down here and I say another example of class counsel's lack of it adequately representing the settlement class is their lack of knowledge of the facts of the case. Records incorrectly reflect. All right, let's just say it like this. I'm saying, how are you going to adequately represent me and you don't know the facts of the case? All right, because when you file this document, it's supposed to be perfect. And here it is. Records incorrectly reflect on August 4th, 2022, AMC declared a special dividend of 1 AMC preferred equity unit for each share of common stock a member of the class possessed, and that pursuant to the deposit agreement dated August 4th, 2022, between the company and Computershare, agreed to vote the preferred proportionally with votes cast, so forth. All right, you could read it whenever you want. But here's the point. That did not happen on August 4th. That happened on like December 22nd or some shit like that. But I pointed out and I say, this is a crucial fact. Because if you take everything out of its timeline, then you can make a story say anything you want. And that's exactly what happened here. When they incorrectly recorded that on August 4th this happened, it had an effect on me. This is yet another example of class counsel's failure to provide accurate information to the court and class, which raises serious concerns about their ability to represent the interest of the settlement class as a whole. That's my impact. All right? From all these mistakes that I'm finding throughout the document, how can you say you're going to adequately represent me in this settlement and so forth, and you're not getting the facts of the case right and not presenting it to the judge correctly? Understand? So, this is long enough already. Let's wrap it on up, and I can get started on my next video, where we're going to have to start talking about preferred shares, because that's what the core of this case is about. All right. First, we have the allegations, which is the actual suit. All right. And it's 42 pages long. Then, from the suit, they had discovery, and from discovery, they came up with this settlement plan. That's what we object to. All right. If you object to the settlement plan. And there's no way that Antar's lawyers can say that they are adequately representing us as a class if they have this many. And I could have went on another 25 pages of mistakes that they've got in here. All right, that they're misleading the court and the class with. So that's why we don't want this settlement proposal. Now, listen to what I just said. We are objecting to this settlement proposal. Okay? And in so doing, what's the next step? Motion to intervene. Once you intervene and they hear that argument, also along with that paperwork will be my proposed settlement plan for the case. All right? Which will look something sort of like this. All right? But I'm going to say this is a better settlement for the class action than what Allegheny's lawyers are proposing. And we're going to talk more about what I believe. Now, I'm going to do a video, but it takes about 40 minutes for this shit to upload and everything. So let me give you a quick rundown on where I want to go with this. If you stayed this long, you get a treat. I shouldn't have said that out loud. They were asleep, thank God. I'm going to hold a meeting with YouTubers and anybody else that wants to join. Those over on Twitter are welcome. All right. The so-called influencers, all right, I want to try to get a couple of them together, like Lou from Wall Street, for example. A lot of people support Lou. A lot of people think Lou is an idiot. All right, doesn't matter. Lou's an influencer. Lou has people below him that follow him, and they express their wishes to him through email. All right, and he basically represents his channel, his subscribers. So when I get to a point where I'm fixing to start settling in on the settlement that I'm going to propose, I want to call a roundtable meeting with some of the YouTubers, and I want to hear what they feel they would propose to the court as a settlement for this case. Not one for every 7.5 shares you get, and not all this other crap that they got in here. And trust me, there's a lot of crap in there. But I'm going to call everybody together, and I would say, okay, what do you think we should ask for in this settlement? And we write it down. And I will prepare a proposed settlement that we, the shareholders, will offer to the court. And it'll be a good one, people. Trust me. but you're going to have to understand what a preferred share is and how they operate, what their functions are, and everything else. Before you can understand a proposed settlement that I'll be proposing, you have to understand the workings of a preferred share. That'll be coming up in my next video. So with that, love y'all. Be blessed. I'll see you in the next video.